Hey Sagittarius, this is your look at the astrology of April 2021. My name is Katie Sweetman. This is Empowering Astrology. So this month, I kind of want to deviate for a few moments, and I know it's Aries season, which means it's all about you on a deeper level, meaning creativity, self-expression, personality, identity. But I wanted to kind of put something on your radar. Now, Jupiter is your planet. Jupiter has been in Aquarius since December 19th, and it's been in the part of your chart that talks about voice, communications. Maybe there's been some busyness, there's been some movement, there's been some writing, there's been some speaking. But next month, May 13th, your planet Jupiter will get into Pisces. And this is a little bit more of a bigger deal, even though it's sort of this sort of step in, step out thing that happens because Jupiter goes into Pisces and then it goes back out the end of July, then it goes back in the end of this year. But Pisces for you forms the base of your chart. It's like part of your four directions. It's your foundation. So you're starting to go into a period of your life that's more about settling down, focusing on home and family, roots, foundation. I know you're not quite there yet, but I would look towards mid-May, and especially the end of May, we're going to have eclipses, just to see that your life might start to take a little bit of a turn, just something to put on your radar. But anyway, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's look at the fact that it's Aries season. So as I said a few moments ago, Aries season is about you. Now, Aries is what's called your fifth sign. Now, the fifth sign in astrology indicates, well, how do we express our personality, our persona, our identity? That's the space where that spark that lives in all of us lives. And this is the spark that you use to kind of create life, whether it's on a very kind of traditional level, a child, or to create life on an everyday level. Now, this is something that, of course, artists, musicians, writers, they all know about, but even you, and maybe you think, I'm not very artistic, Katie, but inside of you is this creative spark. So this is your month, Aries season, to get back in touch with that creative spark. What makes you you? And if that question makes you scratch your head, then this is the season for you to try to best answer. Now, where are other things happening? Well, Aries season is also romance season. It's also about play and fun, and it's pointing towards relationships. We have Mars. It's in your relationship sign of Gemini. It's actually been there since the beginning of March. Now, traditionally, Mars in this part of the chart isn't the best because Mars can be a little demanding, it can be a little rash, it can be a little aggressive, but it does mean that your relationships are sort of demanding a lot of attention from you now. And do keep in mind, Sagittarius, and I did say this, earlier when I was talking about Jupiter, we're going to have eclipses next month. We had eclipses back in November, December. And if you remember, the eclipses are in Sagittarius. You are Sagittarius. And they're also in your opposing sign of Gemini, your relationship sign. So these eclipses and this eclipse season, this whole eclipse cycle is about you, it's about other people, and it's how you connect to other people. And this is a classic time in astrology where a serious relationship may come in, or there's a marriage, or somebody moves in with you, or if you're in a relationship and you need to reevaluate your connection to your partner, then this full moon, lunar eclipse as we get into the end of into May might put some spotlight on that part of your life. But do keep in mind, it's about other people right now. How do you sort of negotiate yourself to accommodate and to make more room for other people? So that said, there's a lot is going on. Maybe you're socializing a lot, maybe you're connecting a lot, maybe you're dating, or I don't know, who's dating these days, like getting busy a lot. But that said, we've got Mercury, your relationship planet. It's going to Aries on April 3rd. It sort of heats up this whole, have fun, play, connect, relate to one another's story. It sort of is taking us through the first few weeks of April. So if life starts to get a little faster, if you start to get a little bit more social, more playful, more creative. And that's Mercury sort of stirring things up. Mercury is also it's actually a career planet for you. So maybe this is a really great time for you to focus on creativity in your professional life as well. As we get to the middle of the month, April 11th, we do have an Aries New Moon. So that everything that I just said is sort of like, this is a new moment. It's a new chapter. It's a new stage in this story about relationships and play and creativity and connecting with people, maybe even romance as well. But let us not forget that Pluto is sort of activated by this new moon. And that Pluto activation means that you have to really know your value, know your worth. And if you're dealing in relationships, don't forget that. Know exactly the power of who you are and the power of your self-worth. And if people are coming into your life that don't respect that, and maybe you're having to push back, maybe you're having to reassert yourself. So it's something just to keep in mind as we get into the middle of the month. And then we have Venus goes into Taurus on April 14th. That part of your chart is about health and wellness. How do you take care of your body? How does your day-to-day life run? Well, keep in mind that a few years ago, another planet went to Taurus, and it's actually going to be there for a few more years, and that planet is Uranus. And Uranus talks about awakenings and reinventions and getting us out of our way. So that whole part of your life, your physical life, your day-to-day life, your work, and even your relationship with your body has to undergo a radical transformation right now. I mean, to be fair, this has already been happening since 2018, 2019. So I say this as Venus goes into Taurus on April 14th, it's going to pick up this story again. What is your relationship with your body? Do you inhabit it, or is it something that you sort of are over here circling around in your thoughts? It's time to get rooted and grounded right now. A few days later, on April 19th, the Sun will go into Taurus and Mercury will go into Taurus too. So there's sort of the shift towards the third week of April, where it is about your sort of getting grounded, your day-to-day life, getting sort of into your routines, creating stability through organizing your day-to-day life, sort of knowing where you have to be at any certain time. Typically, it's a little bit more of a slower time as opposed to all that fast fire and air energy that we had in the first few weeks of April. But like I said, Uranus is there, and Uranus is all about getting you out of your way by any means possible. So if things get a little bumpy towards the end of the month, then you know why. We go a little bit further, Mars goes into Cancer. Mars gets out of your relationship sign and it goes into the part of your chart that talks about the psyche. Meaning you're going into sort of this phase as you go into May where you have to face yourself, face your fears, face your emotions, take care of your emotions, dig deep into that part of you that maybe you don't always go into. And to be fair, Mars is also, Cancer is also a sign that's about home and family. So maybe you're having to deal with issues around family, things from the past, maybe even stuff from childhood, family trauma, ancestral trauma. I know you're thinking, great, perfect. But, got to sort of put a lot of things on the table for you. Now, as we go into later in April, this will be April 26th, there will be a Scorpio full moon. Speaking of, that really deep emotional stuff, Scorpio for you is your last sign. So this full moon, is sort of talking about the how do you take care of yourself on a physical level? How do you take care of yourself on a spiritual level? What do you need to do in order to let things go? Let go of attachments, addictions, emotions, things from the past, things from family, ancestral trauma, all this sort of emotional stuff that sits in we're not just a physical being, we are an emotional being, we have an emotional body too. It's like, how do you start to release things from your emotional body, not just your physical body? So this full moon It also really highlights this story of awakening and transformation that's been happening since May 2018, March 2019. So it's illuminating things, but it's also turning a chapter. And lastly, as we close out the month, Pluto will turn retrograde in Capricorn. Just a little side note, Pluto's starting to get to the end of Capricorn. It will leave Capricorn in March of 2023. I know it's a couple of years from now, but it's been a long journey since 2008. And that part of your chart has been all about completely gut level transforming your relationship with money, your relationship with physical life, your resources, safety, stability, but also your self-worth. So don't forget that this is a really important time for you to stand up for yourself, stand up for your convictions, stand up for your values, and also your personal value. So that is your look at the astrology of April 2021. My name is Katie Sweetman. This is Empowering Astrology. You can follow me online at empoweringastrology.com. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, book a consultation with me, and also subscribe to this YouTube channel. So until next month, I will see you then. Bye.